Guys, what's up? I hope that you are all doing super well today. I wanted to talk about the importance of knowing who you are. So here's what happens. When you don't know who you are, you will allow other people to tell you who you are as a person. And I believe this is why we have so many periods in our lives where, someone will say something about us, or maybe they'll kind of like call us out our name in some kind of way, but it really affects us. And I'm not talking about, things where maybe someone who's close to you says something, so you have a relationship with them, so you feel like your relationship is threatened in some way because you're receiving those words from someone that you love and care about. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we don't allow ourselves the space to explore and discover who we truly are. We don't give ourselves the time to reflect on our souls. That's when we start allowing other people, other forces, other structures of this world to tell us who we are. And that can be a really dangerous thing, right? Because the more that you internalize these ideas and concepts from other people without taking the time to look at yourself, you start to just accept those ideas without really questioning them. And that is a huge disservice that I think many of us do. And I'm not just calling out some of you guys or anything like that. I'm saying it because I know that I've even done this many times. All of us are, because none of us are completely exempt from receiving conditioning in some way. All of us are conditioned when it comes to certain things, because that's just the nature of being and existing in this world. And it's really difficult though, when we are starting to look outside of ourselves for answers about who we are and what are the kinds of things that we should like and engage in. I know, for example, a lot of people like to take those personality assessments. A lot of people are into astrology, which is totally cool and awesome. I love those things. I like taking some of those tests, but I believe that they become a problem though when you're relying on those tests or astrology to tell you exactly who you are as a person. And whenever you are failing to acknowledge why you may be showing up in a certain way. So for example, right, if you're being a jerk to somebody, don't say that, oh, it's because I'm an Aries or I'm a Capricorn or what. Guys, no. This is when this becomes a problem, because you're not taking a second to really drop down and look at why you may be showing up in the way you are. What's going on? Why are you showing up and being a jerk to people? Astrology and those kinds of personality tests are there to help us understand more about ourselves. They're there to give us validation about things that we already know, and they're there to help us make sense of things that maybe we don't know. But they are not there to give you a full picture of who you are as a person and as a being. And you are doing yourself a disservice whenever you're so immersed in these things that you're not really looking at who your soul actually is. Honestly, our souls are so big. They're just so powerful that I don't believe that we're ever really going to have one way of being able to look and conceptualize that thing. I don't think that's what our brains are made to do, and that's why we can't. You know what I mean? And I'm not adding any of you guys. I'm just saying that's something to be aware of, because I see a lot of people not taking responsibility for the things that they're doing just because they're oh, it's just my sign, that's why. No, guys, maybe there's something else that's going on, right? For example, there are people in this world, guys, and I've seen this, where maybe something happens to them in their lives consistently over time. Say if they have a very hard, difficult life, and this person can be a super strong, in tune empath, but because they've been hurt so many times in their lives, they've been pushed down so much that they start to create these barriers to try to keep people out. And one of the ways that sometimes people do that is by trying to appear more cold. They'll seem like on the outside like they're more narcissists, but on the inside like they're really not. It's an exterior wall that they're trying to put up to keep other people out, because it's their protection or like their coping mechanism, although it may not be like the best one to exhibit. Like that's just where they were at. That's what they chose. And I'm telling you guys that to keep that in mind, because sometimes things are a lot deeper than what they seem on the outside. Like, not everybody is a narcissist. Not everybody is like this horrible person. It's just sometimes people will put up these masks, or they will project themselves to look one way when they're the exact opposite. And I know that can sound pretty counterintuitive to those of us who are like, real empaths, real soft and like sappy. It feels like, well, why would I want to show up in this way? And everyone's different, like it's about recognizing like sometimes things look one way and they're something completely different. And I know too, like, just keeping in mind, like, when I've taken these tests in the past, like, for example, like, the Myers-Briggs test, right? Like, the times that I've taken that, I've always gotten different categories, or like a different answer of like my personality type. And the reason is because I have changed a lot over time in my life through doing a lot of hard work with things. And sometimes that can happen, guys. Like, sometimes your answers will change, because you do not have to be like a one fixed type of person. And I just mean that because certain aspects of our personality, like maybe certain aspects are shining through at one period of our lives that they're not shining through on another period. Or maybe literally, guys, you are accepting qualities that other people are putting on you that don't actually resonate with you. When I took that test years ago, I remember at one point I had like a ENFJ, and I was like, okay, cool, like that resonated a lot. But like, I know that I have qualities of also being very like introverted and having qualities of like an INFJ, and there's totally like nothing wrong with that. But I think these kinds of things can cause problems when someone else is trying to tell you like exactly who you are, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna fit myself into a box and just accept it as it is without really like looking at it. You know what I mean? Years ago, like when I was in school and like we had to do lab groups, I remember that I used to be like really quiet in that group, just because I was so interested in hearing what people had to say. Like, it was really it was a really good experience, and I always had fun whenever I could hear other people share their thoughts about like topics that were important to me and that I felt passionate about. But did you know that later on, people literally told me that they thought I was a shy person, because literally just because of that, because I wasn't talking as much, but it's because I was actively listening and I was so engaged with all of their thoughts, and I loved hearing what they had to say. But I remember at that time that was like, I was like, huh, like shy, what? But it's true. Like, when you show up a certain way, people have their own subjective view on it. Like, when people are quiet, some people don't think about like, maybe there are other things that are interacting with why you may be silent at that moment. You know what I mean? So for those people, their automatic assumption with that is that, okay, you're a shy person, when in reality, like, I was actually really, really extroverted at that point in my life. And that's why that shocked me. And also, I was in other periods of my life as well, like from then on, I had really bad anxiety, and my anxiety really prevented me in certain situations from being able to do the things that like I wanted to be able to do, or the things that like I knew that I was fully capable of doing, but I just kind of like held myself back because I would like literally have a panic attack. So like I couldn't I couldn't really engage the way that I wanted to. And anxiety is its own like separate thing, but I'm telling you that so that you can understand the point that I'm really trying to make here. Like, there can be other things that are going on, but those are other things that are like stopping you from showing up as who you truly are, but that doesn't mean that that's not who you truly are. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, my anxiety was preventing me from being who I truly am in my soul and how I resonate, which I tend to be a little bit more extroverted, And that's like a prime example of what I'm talking about. Like, sometimes when you're not taking that second to really like drop down and see like, okay, like, who am I really? You rely on other people telling you what to do, and that is so dangerous, because when we start taking on these ideas and all these labels and all these boxes, okay, sometimes that can really prevent us from looking at ourselves from a full perspective, like a full picture, And you guys deserve to look at yourselves for who you truly are. You deserve to know who you are, and we're always going to be growing, expanding, and changing, and that's like the whole point of being here. And so I'm not, telling y'all what to do. I'm just saying I would suggest that when you take these kinds of tests, when you're looking into astrology and other different types of like spiritual things, and you're using different labels that help you understand more about who you are, like, that is so good, so productive. I do this all the time. Just keep in mind that someone else's experience or categorization, don't know if that's a word, but yeah, if their categorization doesn't have to look exactly like yours for you to also be that thing, you know what I mean? So just keeping that in mind for you guys. You're all doing great. I want you to keep trying your best, and spend time looking at the things that resonate with you, because you guys know I love looking into things with like spirituality. Literally, that's my job as a spiritual coach, and I think it does help to give you more clarity, and it helps you to make sense of why you have certain experiences, or what they're going on, or why they're going on is really what I mean to say there. But yeah, guys, so tune in for the rest of, well, actually every day, because I'll be uploading every single day. So like this video, share it with someone who needs it, subscribe so you don't miss anything that I am going to be uploading. And if any of you are needing help with spirituality, or you would like extra guidance or support in your own lives so that you can create the things that you're envisioning for yourself, or maybe you just want help trying to clarify what you want for yourself, reach out to me, guys. I'd love to coach you, and you can find out more about me through my website, biancaward.com.